Alright, this is the second set of Group B, Flash versus ZerO. We started off with Bisu versus Lita, and now Flash versus freaking ZerO. Then we're moving on to Jaedong versus C, and then Free versus Cal. What did I do to deserve all this awesome sauce? I'm not sure, but this is just an excellent night of the round of 16. It's like I was walking down a hallway or something. I see a rope hanging off the ceiling. I'm like, what is this? Pull on the rope. Then 15,000 gallons of awesome sauce just fall right on my head. And at that point I go, but I just bought these pants. Wah, wah, wah. Then the audience laughs. But okay. Looks like we're getting ready to start. This is on Polaris Rhapsody. And there is going to be a surprise in this game that a Nukanite wrote me about earlier. I got a private message from the source of the surprise, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to run the same surprise. You're going to see it, and I'm going to see it for the first time, so it should be great. Here we go. Flash versus freaking ZerO. I want to see Queens! Polaris Rhapsody, Queen. Except... is this the real life? Okay, I'm not going to do that. But up at the 10 o'clock position is a dancing Flash in brown. That means down at the 5 o'clock position in red is ZerO. Two powerhouses, two S-class players going head-to-head on a two-player map. I am excited about this one, as I am about all of the matchups tonight. But yeah, I'm thinking back to Flash's games in the finals from the last OSL. Of course, he went up against Zerg, took it over 5 games, but ended up losing using a 14cc build. But after that, he went up against Jaedong in the same finals, went 14cc in all 3 games, and just completely 3-0'd Jaedong. So it's difficult to say Flash isn't on top of his game. I don't think Flash is ever in a slump, per se. I mean, he drops from great to kinda great, and then back to great, and then back to destroy your face again. Wait, shout out to Diggity. Hey, who's that guy? I know that guy. Commentating on myself. This is so meta. As a fan does, I think that's Yellow's dance. Yes, the pro gamer Yellow, but yes, someone wrote me about that earlier. A guy named Andy, screen name Dr. Co. He was like, I sent a shout out to you in the ZerO versus Flash game, so look out for it. I was like, that's awesome. And yes, seeing it, I do feel awesome. I'm on Korean TV again. I think that's the second time that I've seen anyway. But it looks like ZerO's thrown down his hatchery. And we're going to see a pretty standard macro game from these two. Let's see what Flash was doing, if he's going to go for 14cc or a different kind of build. He was kind of making it look like he was going to steal the gas for a second. But I see no barracks. No barracks. I think it's going to be 14cc from Flash. Yep, I think he's going for the 14cc. It's spawning pool just now coming down for ZerO. Almost called him effort there for a second. Flashing back yet again to the finals. Horrible flashbacks of failed 14cc's. I'm sure Flash does too. I'm sure he's waking up in a cold sweat. Zerglings! So, okay, let's get some predictions from the Nukanites. Things aren't going to heat up for a while, I think, before the first Zerglings come out. And if ZerO should try to push his luck, get the aggressiveness on. Alright, here's one from Tehook Show, writes, Flash will terminate everyone! 3 exclamation points. Here's one from Dark Drum Productions, sounds like a studio or something, writes, Flash is a given. ZerO will lose to Flash, no doubt. But if he hooks up in his game against ZerO and ZerO shows off his amazing versus Terran and doesn't feel the pressure like he usually does, I can see ZerO advancing along with Flash. So he's saying ZerO might lose this game, but he's going to end up moving out of this anyway, which is a possibility. ZerO is such an enigma of a player because he's so good. He might be... Sometimes he is the best Zerg in the world, I think, even better than Jaedong sometimes, with his crazy micro and macro. It's kind of insane. Plus, his innovation just puts him up in the upper echelon, definitely the top 3 of Zerg. But what makes him an enigma, I've talked about this before, is just his ability to just choke when he really needs to win is when he doesn't. He's shown this in Pro League consistently. He's won a couple of ace matches, but whenever they throw him out for ace, I just cringe because I know he's not going to play his best. He never plays his best when he's in an ace match. Okay, just took down Flash's scout. And he has to play his best to beat Flash. No doubt about that. Flash is just a monster, so you have to play your best, no matter what kind of player you are. There's the wink on camera from the pervert in the audience. I hope that wasn't the same guy who held up the sign. I'm sorry. I don't think it was. That would be bad if I just said thank you and then called him a pervert. But, all right, the Spire on the way for ZerO. I think he's going to start out with some standard Mutalist Harass. Let's get some more predictions. Here's one from MS9 Ball writes, ZerO will unleash his new all-queen build and destroy all. So he's going specifically just for queens. I can see that working out fantastically. Broodling only, that's all you need. Plus some ensnare. But ZerO has started expanding down at the 8 o'clock position. That's going to be difficult to hold if Flash finds out about it, which I'm sure he's going to do. Flash will know that there's a third base somewhere, but he won't know where it is, so he's going to go for the logical spot. Okay, here's another one from Flabrezu, writes, Flash is going to stomp all over everybody, $, pound sign, @ symbol, pound sign, $. That was in all caps, by the way. Here's another one from Gura Glad. Gura Glad writes, ZerO, so creative and fun to watch. I hope he moves on. That seems to be the theme of most ZerO fans, respecting his innovation. It's always good to see new builds, new ideas brought into StarCraft, and it's weird to see new builds because this game is so freaking old, and the pro scene is so old that whenever you see a new approach, or an approach that's been revived, like Valkyrie builds, stuff like that, you just kind of step back and say, wow, I can't believe this is still evolving the way it is. But I think a lot of people said that when ZerO has come up with his queen builds in all 3 matchups. He's used queens in all 3 matchups effectively, so you never know what that little sucker's going to do. But right now he's going for standard play. He's going to get some Mutalist harassment of the natural expansion. Flash, nice little wall of turrets. It's going to be difficult to protect behind the natural expansion. He does have Goliath on the way. He's decided to go for a mech build to hold his base for the moment, and ZerO is going to see that. I think he hovered around just enough to see the Goliaths. He definitely sees them now. He went in with one single Mutalist just to get a full scout and everything. He knows he's being blocked in by turrets, but he can sacrifice one Muta just to get the kind of scouting information he needs. He has a couple Scourge out, maybe expecting a Valkyrie from Flash or something. But look at this turret positioning from Flash. He definitely wants to protect those production buildings with his life as he is getting out his Goliaths. Because at this point, he doesn't really have enough Goliaths to tackle the amount of Mutalists that ZerO has on the ground. But he does have turrets. That's what he has right now. Just a lot of turrets just to help him hold on until he has enough Goliaths to do this. And now he got his Terran boosters, so he's going to be a little bit more of a threat. And now he's getting so many Goliaths that he will be able to defend against the Mutas. So I think that ZerO is slowly losing any kind of timing window to pick off SCVs or anything like that. Just excellent turret positioning from Flash is going to keep him safe for the time being. Okay, Flash moving up. Probably looking for an Overlord at that position, or trying to find ZerO camped out with his Mutas somewhere, just trying to put them somewhere so he doesn't have to deal with them. But he isn't doing that right now. ZerO's just running all over the place with those Mutas, trying to find out when Flash is going to move out. He's going to be able to pick off one Goliath that lagged behind, trying to fall back. There, the Charon boosters upgrades. ZerO still committing. There's going to be some backup Goliaths coming in here to defend the other Goliaths, though, so ZerO might be in a little bit of trouble. His Mutas got badly damaged, but I don't think he lost a whole lot of Mutas there, so maybe he should back off right now, cut his losses. But no, he picks off more Goliaths, just stopping that big push from Flash, because that is the power of a mech build, is one big unstoppable push. It is so scary to deal with, especially as a Zerg player. Because as a Zerg, basically you've got to expand everywhere and get your upgrades for everything up as quickly as possible, which ZerO is doing. I saw him putting up another evolution chamber. Maybe that was the first evolution chamber, I'm not exactly sure. But at this point, focus on the upgrades. Upgrades are so important versus mech. Carapace especially, just to survive against the tanks and the Goliaths, you need some way to survive long enough to pick those units off. Okay, ZerO... going to try to stop this vulture harassment. I see one drone went down, but that's not too bad. as the Vulture making its way to the natural expansion, just trying to skirt by those mutas so that it can attack another position. But ZerO at this point, he really needs to start thinking about taking his 4th base somewhere. Got to put that down. He knows that Flash, it's going to take Flash a while to move out anyway, so might as well get that economic advantage. Got to throw down that 4th base somewhere.